Hey Mercy House, happy Monday. I had a great time worshiping with you yesterday, and pretty tough sermon yesterday, talking about the wrath of God and people being consumed, all that kind of thing. And I think a lot of questions come out of that, and really I tried to redirect our questions yesterday. Instead of saying, why does God do those things? Why doesn't He do those more? But still there's the question of, in similar circumstances, you can actually even see in the Bible that God doesn't consume, priests who are doing inappropriate things inside the holy place. Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, for instance, were eating sacrifices that weren't for them. They were sleeping around with some of the women that were coming to worship at the tabernacle, and these guys didn't get, the same thing that Nadab and Abihu got. And so the question is, why does God at certain times do the drastic kinds of justice and wrath that He did in what we looked at yesterday? And really what you see Him doing consistently is when He's about to start something new, He will do something drastic to show the people that He's serious, and that His holiness is a spiritual reality that they need to take seriously. We'll see this when they go into the promised land, and God says, I want everything that is sort of the booty of the first conquest of Joshua when they go into Jericho. I want that devoted to me. I want that to be holy to me. And they go in, and everybody follows the rules except one guy, Achan. And so when they go to the next city for the next conquest, the city of Ai, they lose. And the reason is because this one guy in the whole nation of Israel, Achan, hasn't followed the protocol of devoting everything to the Lord. And so they literally kind of cast lots to figure out who the guy is. And when they get the guy, Achan, they stone him to death and his entire family. But again, they're beginning something new. They're going into the promised land. They're starting fresh. They're starting this nation, planting roots in the promised land. Another story in 2 Samuel, you see David bringing in the Ark of the Covenant and establishing worship in Jerusalem, and they're bringing it in on a cart that's pulled by oxen. And you can look at the Old Testament, and you can find a protocol for how the Ark of the Covenant is to be carried, and it's not to be carried on a cart. It's supposed to be carried on poles. And so as they're going along on this ox cart, the ox kind of pull the Ark of the Covenant one direction, and it begins to fall off the cart. And this guy named Uzzah reaches out to stop it with his hand so that the Ark of the Covenant doesn't fall off. And Uzzah dies. God strikes him dead. And again, it's one of those stories where you go, God, why? But again, He's starting something new. He's establishing worship in Jerusalem. He's establishing the tabernacle there and eventually the temple. And He wants the people to know, look, I'm a holy God, and I want you to do things in accordance with the ways that I have laid out for that. Again, we've talked about a little bit in the past couple of weeks about, is the God of the Old Testament different than the New Testament? And I mean, right, He doesn't do these kind of things in the New Testament. Well, actually, that's not correct either. And again, it's in a fresh start moment in salvation history. It's the beginning of the church. And people are bringing very generous offerings to the apostles to be used for the spread of the gospel. And this married couple, Ananias and Sapphira, see that how everyone is looking up to these people that are being so generous. So they decide they want to be looked up as generous givers, but they don't want to be generous givers. And so they sell off a field, take half the money to the apostles, but they lie about it and say, no, this is all the money that we got from this field. And so when they walk in to the Apostle Peter's office, so to speak, and he asks them about it, they lie about it, and God strikes them dead. But it's the same thing. It's a new start. It's a fresh start. God is establishing the church, and He wanted to let the people of the church know, I'm a holy God, and this is not something to be trifled with. So as we think about our own church, we're 12 years old, but in a lot of ways, it's a fresh start. And I'm not saying that God's going to start striking people dead, although He certainly has that right and certainly could. but to really take serious His holiness and to respond to the grace of the gospel by seeking to live holy lives and to seek to have a holy church that's set apart for God and His purposes. He's into that. He blesses that. He wants to pour His Spirit out on a people that respond to His gospel in that way, to live out holy lives. Again, I want to encourage you to come on Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights to midweek. Again, to sort some of these things out. Lots of questions come up in a 40-minute sermon that can't really be covered. And man, it's a great time on Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights at our main building. We start at 6 o'clock with meal, and then at 7 o'clock we break up into groups. You can find out more on our website if you hit the Basics tab and then go to Midweeks, and hope to see you there. Have a great week.